All right, Lily, you got to show them how to waterproof a servo. Let's do it. Hey guys, Edward Ramirez here. Another episode of RC Extreme Bashers. This is going to be a how-to video on waterproofing a servo. I know there's a lot of waterproofing servos out there on YouTube, but I know there isn't one with the udder butter from Cow RC. All right, first of all, I'm going to let you know this is a Savox servo SA1230SG. Now, this is one of the servos that I pretty much use on all my rock crawlers, trail trucks. It's been a really good servo for me. It has plenty of torque. The specs are 499.9 ounces of torque at 6 volts, and it's a pretty good servo. I really like it. That's why I keep buying it over and over whenever I'm doing a new build. To go over what the stuff you're gonna need is, well, obviously you're gonna need your servo, the screwdriver to take the servo apart, some liquid electrical tape or Plasti Dip. I've been using this for a while. This works great, pretty much just as Plasti Dip. I have no issues with it. And of course, you're gonna need some grease. And what better grease to go with the new Cow RC Udder Butter waterproof grease. And just to show you what we're gonna do is we're gonna first take apart the servo here. Alright, once you got all the screws out of the bottom of the servo here, what I like to do is I like to first start out with the top hat of the servo here. And to remove that, make sure that you're holding on to the servo horn here and you push down on it and you pull on the tabs and it should come off just like that. Now on this servo here you can see that there is an O-ring and a bearing that goes into that case. Now what I like to do is that I'm about to show y'all here is I like to fill this hole with grease first and then fill all the way around with grease and put grease all the way around the gears. It doesn't hurt it. It's not like it's gonna make the servo any slower or anything like that. And I'll show you a little trick that I like to do if your grease that you have at home does not come in a little grease gun or you just don't want to get your fingers dirty. Alright, a little trick that I got is you get a Ziploc baggie, any type of Ziploc baggie. Get a spoon and of course your grease if it comes in a can like this one here. And you pretty much just get you're not going to need that much, but if you do put more than what you need in here, you could always put it back into this container. It's a pretty neat little container. I'm sure this grease is going to last me a while. I'm sure it'll go through numerous amounts of servos and a ton of gears and transmissions. So grab some of this udder butter here. I like to get enough so I can have at least enough to work with. Take a look at the grease there. It's got a little slight green color to it, nice and sticky. And we'll put it here in the Ziploc baggie. Just pretty much just like that. And work the way to the tip. And you get a little X-Acto knife and you cut just the slight little corner of it. Just like so. I don't know if y'all can see that, but once you start pulling it, it should come out in a nice little stream like that. So we get our top hat here and we fill it up with grease like so, just like that. Don't worry to put too much grease in there. If it's excessive, if it's an excessive amount, whenever you put it back together, it'll just come out of the seams. And worst what you can do is just clean it up. And now we start off with the actual servo itself here. Make sure you put some grease around this bearing and and that O-ring. And you know, it doesn't hurt if you just pretty much add it all over the place. What I like to do is I like to make sure that it's in there pretty good. Like I said, if it's more than what it needs, worst comes to worst, all you have to do is whenever you put that top hat on, clean it up. It ain't no big deal. It's not gonna hurt nobody. There we go. Now, since I have this spoon here, I could use it to shape it a little bit, just like that. Should work out pretty good. Make sure you work it in there. This other butter looks crazy. It's green. I like it's pretty cool. There we go, just like that. Like I said, there's no such thing as too much grease on there. I've done it like this for years, obviously with probably different grease, and I've never had any problems. You know, the good thing about these servos is that it gets out a little hot. It's got an aluminum case here, and it helps disperse the heat, and shouldn't have any problems at all with it. Alright, after you've added your grease, it's time to put the actual top cover on the servo again, and just pretty much wiggle it in there, and it should go right into place. Like I said, yeah, we got some excess grease. I might have gone a little overboard on that, but grab the spoon, clean it right off, just like so, and a little paper towel, and that should do the trick. Alright, now after you cleaned up all the excess udder butter with that spoon, all you need is just a paper towel. Give it a nice little go on it. Clean up the edges. It'll be just like new. It's better to have more grease than not enough grease. A lot of people will skimp out on the grease and they didn't cover every single part of it, and that's when you see their servos failing underwater. Like I said, I like to have more grease than not enough grease. That should take care of waterproofing the top part of the servo. Like I said, the grease will get into the cracks here, and since it's waterproof and it's from Cow RC, I know there's not going to be any issues of water getting in there and causing my servo to fail. Alright, now we're on to the bottom of the servo, and you know, now you can take this bottom plate off, and that exposes the motherboard, I guess, or the brains of the actual servo itself. And what I like to do is on this part, we're going to use our liquid electrical tape or plasti dip, whatever you might have. And on this one, I do like to cover the whole motherboard, the wires here and around the case, to make sure that there's no water that gets through. The biggest thing I like to do is to make sure that there is electrical tape or liquid tape, I'm sorry, all the way around the case to kind of make, you could say, an O-ring or a seal. So whenever you put this case back on, it makes a nice waterproof seal through there. Alright, now to show you here with the electrical tape. Alright guys, now to the actual liquid electrical tape portion of it. Hopefully y'all guys can see that. I know the lighting's a little bad. I'll be getting some better lighting here in the near future for sure. But this is what it's going to look like. Here. Pretty much grab it and just cover that whole motherboard with that electrical tape. You don't want any water touching this, obviously, because it'll cause some problems. Just like so. Now, like I said, this waterproofing video does not guarantee your servo for underwater use. The grease I'm using is not guaranteed to help your electronics stay how it is. This is just my method of how I've been doing it for a long time, and I haven't had any problems at all whatsoever with it. Like I said, I'm not guaranteeing you that your servo's gonna do fine underwater. That's just the way that I do my waterproofing on my servos. Because out there you can't really find a nice waterproof servo with enough torque, especially guys running 2.2 tires. And I mean, yeah, I guess 200 ounces of torque could cut it for some of y'all, but that's not enough for me. This 500 ouncer has been great. So that's pretty much how it looks like right there. Hopefully guys y'all can see that. There's some better lighting. I'll give it another coat, let this one dry for a couple of minutes, and we'll give it a second coat. Now guys, while I'm letting that dry, I want to show y'all something. On this Savox servo here, the bottom plate comes with this small O-ring already there. You know, yeah, you can leave, you see, hopefully I can see that. Yeah, I could have left that there. I still do leave that there, but some of y'all might be saying, why are you adding, you know, the electrical tape if there's already a seal there? I mean, you never know if that thing is going to fail. I like to go this route, and then I like to put some plastic dip around here on the edges, some plastic dip around the edges of the case, and set it down and tighten it down, and I know it's definitely waterproof there now. Like I said, I've been doing that for years, so when we let this dry, I'll show you that process. Alright, well this already had the first coat, already dried a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and give it a second coat. You can see how it looks after it's been dry. I'm going to give it a second coat here, and then I'm going to install it back together, and that should be the end of it. Just give it another second coat just to make sure if you missed a little, you know, crack or anything like that. And then this is where I add the plastic dip or electrical tape on this case to that border of the case, just like so. Get a little more in there, just like that. Now don't worry if you get your servo all, you know, electrical tape all over the place, because this thing dries and it'll peel right off. You see how I'm working my way around it? Just making sure that I make a rubber, an extra rubber seal around that. A lot of guys are probably saying, oh, it's overkill, but it's worked for me. If you do it right, it should work for you as well. Alright, well that's it. You can see that I made some, you know, seal. I don't know if there's enough lighting there for y'all guys. That's what it looks like. I made a nice little seal, you know, border around the case, and I'll be installing that back piece on there right now. This is that piece. Put it back how it goes. I mean, it just is going to snap right into place there. Just like so. Tighten up the screws. It'll make a good seal. Let it dry overnight, and you should be good to go. I like to do it in a crisscross pattern. Not all the way tight, just enough to get them done in there. And then we'll do this. That is when it will start tightening down a little bit. And you'll notice that you'll get grease coming out of the top case and the bottom case. On the bottom case, plastic dip, and on the top case, the grease. And that's what makes the seal so much better. As you can see, some grease came out of the top. You see that? And some plastic dip came out of the bottom. Alright guys, well, after you do a little bit of cleanup on the excess grease and the excess plastic dip, it should pretty much look like it just really came out of the box. I really like this method. Like I said, this method works for me. If you follow these steps, this method could definitely work for you as well. Obviously, using some waterproof grease, I'm using the Cow RC udder butter here. Definitely go check out cowrc.com and definitely get some of this grease here. It's a real nice grease for sure. Well guys, that's gonna be it for today. Let me know if you have any questions. Post them below in the comment section. I'll try to answer them to y'all as best as I can on the Facebook page, RC Extreme Bashers. And like I said, thanks again for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed it and hope this helps you waterproof your servos. Thanks a lot, guys. Alright guys, these are the two items that you're going to need. You can find the udder butter at cowrc.com, and the liquid electrical tape you should be able to find it at any hardware store, automotive store, Walmart, AutoZone, Pep Boys, anything like that.